Somehow this man gets it to Jordan. Michael Jordan was amazing and scary to play against. That's your limits up. I was so scared out there. Were you really? Yeah, you bet MJ. Yeah, his dunks changed basketball forever. Jordan T. out and his crazy skills, hard work, and being clutch in big games earned him the nickname Black Jesus, but he was not picked first in his own draft class. How is it possible that not one but two teams could miss the most talented guard in basketball history? And if Jordan's draft class is thought of as the greatest in NBA history, what happened to the other guys? Well, from one of the greatest centers to ever live to a guy who tried to eat too much food to get out of an NBA contract. This is what happened to the players picked before and after Michael Jordan. If you're a basketball fan at all, then you probably already know the story of young Mike Jordan. He grew up in North Carolina, got cut from his high school team, then ended up doing this as only a freshman at UNC. The time 18 shot Jordan, Michael Jordan. But even after being amazing at college basketball for 3 straight years, winning lots of awards and taking home the big championship, some teams still weren't sure about Jordan being the first pick. And the main reason for those doubts was height. You see in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, the league was ruled by big, tall men. They were the most important part of every championship team, and the idea of using a #1 draft pick on a guard was not just risky but rare. Out of 10 #1 draft picks chosen between 1974 and 84, only 2 of them were guards, and one of those guards ended up being really bad, and the other was Magic Johnson, who at 6 feet 9 inches was definitely not like other point guards. So even though it seems crazy looking back, you can't really blame the Rockets for their choice not to go with Jordan, especially when you find out that the guy they picked was Hakeem Olajuwon of the University of Houston. Hakeem Olajuwon was born in Lagos, Nigeria. The third child of a rich family. He wouldn't find basketball until he was 15 years old, but Hakeem fell in love with the game right away and found that his footwork from playing other sports gave him a big advantage after having to sit out his freshman season at Houston University. Hakeem took college basketball by storm, leading the Cougars to back-to-back big championship games and sadly lost both. That's the ball game, the national champions. But in the NBA, Hakeem was a real superstar. His first year, he scored an amazing 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game, being named an all-star and the starting center on the all-rookie first team by his second year. Hakeem scored even more points and led the Rockets to the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics. They lost, but at this point, nobody was questioning the Rockets' choice to take Hakeem over MJ in the 90s. Hakeem reached his best years. He led the league in rebounds twice, blocks 3 times, and scored over 27 points per game twice. Also, he became one of 4 NBA players to ever record a quad-double in 1994 and 95. He dream-shaked his way to back-to-back NBA championships, first getting revenge for his college loss against Patrick Ewing and the Knicks, then scaring Michael Jordan when he returned to the NBA in 1995. For anyone doubting how good those championships were, just listen to Kenny Smith's totally fair opinion. And when he had 55 in the Garden, nobody was saying he was second. He wasn't Mike. You know, we would have beat their butts. Hakeem won an Olympic gold medal in 1996 with a dream team too, but after 1997, age and injuries caught up with him, and his career began to go down when he stopped playing basketball in 2002. Olajuwon stayed in Texas and became a powerful force in the Houston house buying and selling business. But even with all the money and awards, Olajuwon didn't turn his back on the game completely for many years after Hakeem taught the league. Greatest players, his special footwork and skills, including Kobe, LeBron, Dwight, and Carmelo. Hakeem never went on to win 6 NBA championships like Emmy. But few can blame the Rockets for their choice. In 1984, Olajuwon became one of the greatest centers in NBA history. Even Michael Jordan himself respected what Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon brought to the game. Olajuwon, he was in the top 10 in 5 areas: steals, rebounds, rounds, block shots, scoring, and shooting percentage. To have a big guy of his size to be in the top 10 in steals. Now you can guess that he would be in blocks, which to me shows how many different things he could do really well. But sadly, the same can't be said for the next pick taken before Michael Jordan, Portland. Picks Sam Bowie, University of Kentucky. After a great freshman and sophomore year at Kentucky, 7-foot-tall big man Sam Bowie was thought of as a future star, but everything changed after a leg bone injury kept the big man out for 2 straight years. When he came back from the injury, Bowie wasn't the same, and many began to wonder if his body could last through a tough NBA season, including Bowie himself, because in the doctor checkup before the NBA draft, Bowie lied to the Blazers medical team to make sure his draft position stayed high. As far as I'm concerned, I'm 100% healthy. But even with Bowie's lies, why would the Blazers pick him over Michael Jordan? Well, at the time, the Blazers felt they should build for what the team needed over the best player available. You see, the Blazers had just lost their star big man, Bill Walton, in 1979 after he demanded a trade, and they just drafted shooting guard Clyde Drexler in 1983. So they went with a tall guy in 1984, but sadly for Portland, this choice aged about as badly as Bowie's legs did after a decent first year where he scored 10 points and got 8 rebounds. Bowie broke his left leg bone again, and then after months of getting better from that injury, Bowie came back only to break his other leg bone just 5 games into his 3rd NBA season. And so while his draft classmates were taking the league by storm, tries to lay off, here's Jay, and he reverses in and ramp Bowie. And the Blazers were in injury hell, but it wasn't all bad times for Sam Bowie. After a tough time in Portland, Bowie got traded to the New Jersey Nets, where he was finally able to put together a couple injury seasons. Sadly, he's thought of as one of the biggest NBA draft mistakes ever, but today he has a good comeback for anyone who gives him a hard time. Every time I see Michael, I tell him if he would have never turned out to be the player he was, I wouldn't have to hear all this silly stuff by being drafted before him. Now I know you came here for Jordan, but I can't talk about his greatness until we talk about how great the 1984 draft class was. After Jordan being picked 3rd, there were 2 Hall of Famers and 3 other All-Stars drafted. The first Hall of Famer was the round mound of rebound, Charles Barkley. As a junior in high school, Barkley weighed a huge 240 pounds, but those extra pounds Barkley was adding from late night pizza eating helped the big man become a powerful force, getting rebounds at Auburn. Barkley led the SEC in rebounding 3 straight seasons, and although he was heavy, Barkley was a force running fast breaks ahead to Barley Thunder. Sixers by 14 before the draft. The Philadelphia 76ers let Barkley know they wanted to take him with the 5th pick, but sadly for the Sixers, Barkley didn't feel the same way. You see, Barkley didn't want to go to Philadelphia because of the salary cap situation, and so knowing he could make more money somewhere else, Barkley made the funny choice to try to eat his way out of being a top pick. I didn't leave college for $75. Zero, we got to make sure the Sixers don't draft me down. So we went on a 2-day eating binge. I had like 6 pancakes, bacon, washed it down with a vanilla shake. Then we went to lunch, 4 or 5 pieces of Kentucky Fried Chicken, some mashed potato, some coleslaw. Then we went to dinner, someplace I had like a T-bone steak, had a baked potato. And then the next day, he did the exact same thing. Sadly, all of his hard work would end up being useless because when it came time for the Sixers to make their choice, it was 300-pound Barkley who would walk across that stage at first. Barkley didn't play as well as he could with the Sixers, and it took some tough love from 2-time MVP Moses Malone to get Barkley to play his best. The biggest influence of my basketball career has been Moses Malone. You fat and you lazy young fellow, you fat and you lazy. I'm like, oh, I'm fat and I'm lazy before Barkley lost 50 pounds letting his game and the Sixers reach a whole other level over his 16-year career. Barkley would go on to be an 11-time All-Star, a 2-time Olympic gold winner, and of course, MVP. Thanks to Air Jordan, Barkley never went on to win an NBA championship. He doesn't know about this. He's never ridden a motorcycle. You never understand what it takes to be a winner, but Charles Barkley's placed in basketball. History is unquestionable. He's remembered as one of the game's greatest power forwards and also one of its best TV analysts. I mean, how can you not love Chuck? I got this bracelet from a guy in the steam room back in Arizona. You got the next future All-Star was 7th pick, Alvin Robertson. Robertson played 10 years in the NBA. He got the nickname Dog for his tough attitude and pure determination. Robertson scored 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, including 4 All-Stars, 3 steal titles, and 6 all-defensive teams. He is the only guard in the history of the NBA to get a quad-double 20 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, and 10 steals. Alvin Robertson has his first quadruple-double tonight. Pretty crazy that today no one really remembers him. Former San Antonio Spur Alvin Robertson back in the Bexar County jail after being cut off as GPS monitor about a week ago. The 9th pick Otis Thorpe played 17 years in the league. Maxwell in the middle of the Thorpe. Thorpe went 10 feet in the air to slam that pass.